I was talking to Kevin Gravel about being one of those guys in sort of that rotation of four who've been playing third pairing D. I think he and the others are pretty realistic about the situation right now. What would you like to see from those guys to maybe step up, really grab that spot and grab a lot of ice time in games?
They're all in that position of air free. So the guy that plays the most air free, which to me, that's Gravel right now. That's what you want. You want a guy to keep the puck in front of him, defend well, but play an air-free game, and that's what you want from your third pair. We're pretty much defined in the top four, and the top four are playing awful well right now, but we need air-free from that third pair. So to me, Gravy's really stepped up, and every time we try to experiment, we put somebody in there. There seems to be a little bit of a drop-off, so that's just competition within the team. But that's what you want, is the puck's got to stay in front of you. You don't want to make big error.
And playing Vegas tomorrow, I mean, obviously they were an incredible story last year, and Gallant won Coach of the Year. Just, coach to coach, any insight into why he's been so successful, or what is it like going up against his teams in a game?
Well, they're back feeling it now and playing really well. Gerard is a guy that he's really interesting. He has a different approach than a lot of coaches do, and I really appreciate his candor and his attitude toward where he does it. But his team plays free, and they go. And they weren't going at the start of the year. They looked like a little bit of the typical, I know, having experienced it twice, it's very difficult. Never mind to get the Stanley Cup team going. You at least got some energy based on last year. But to pull it out from the woods when you haven't won and you lost, it's very difficult. And he had a tough go at the start of the year, but he's got him rolling again. So I think his ability to get his team to play free mentally is his greatest attribute. He's very good coach that way, and his team is really up and running now. Like they look the Vegas Knights of last year right now, the last 4 games.
You look like from a distance that you're just having the time of your life. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, Terry, there's a big difference between stress and pressure. I understand the pressure to win here, but I would have never anticipated getting this opportunity. I didn't even think about it. And then the call came, and 3 hours later, I'm packing a bag. And I never thought this would happen. And I know the pressure, and I know the responsibility of living in this city for most of my life and what I'm up against. But I feel like I've got an opportunity of a lifetime, and I want to enjoy it. I really do want to enjoy it, and I want to enjoy an opportunity that I didn't think I would get. And obviously, my history goes back to the 50s. I mean, I knew everybody that played in Ponoka and Lacombe and the Flyers and the Nuggets. I knew all those guys. And so this is, to me, home, but it's also an opportunity that I would have never got before, ever.
And if you can define some of the things in your first 5 days here, or 6, whatever it is. I know you've been back for Claire's funeral and a few things like that, a couple of golf tournaments with your old Sherwood Park guys and everything, but just what have the joys been in Edmonton this week?
Well, I've said to people, people have asked me all around the world what it's like, what's Edmonton like, and I've always felt that this is a city with a big soul, and it doesn't have the flash of other cities, but it's got this unbelievable soul. And I've told people, if you go live in Edmonton, Alberta, you'll never want to leave there. And it's got a sense of community. This doesn't feel like big corporations. It's family businesses, or run by the children, or run by the kids that I know are running a lot of the businesses here are the grandchildren. And it's very much a family atmosphere. And you feel a responsibility. Like, I can feel the people in the stands counting on me trying to get a job done here. And at the end of the day, 20 years ago, I would have been stressful, but now I just feel that pressure, and I don't mind it. Actually enjoy it. But I feel a responsibility because of how I feel about this city. And this city, to me, has an incredible soul and vibrant fiber about it that is second to none. But in saying that, if you're going to work in this city in this type of business, whether it's the Oilers or the Eskimos, you better be prepared to listen, because people got strong opinions. And you better be prepared to listen to the opinions, because in most cases, quite frankly, they're right. And that's what I learned, is there's a knowledge here that you don't find anywhere else, especially in the CFL knowledge and in the NHL knowledge. You just don't find it.
Ken must be in the front row. You haven't had a chance to go full practice this week. Why the optional today?
What's that?
Why an optional practice today?
First of all, it's not an optional. This is called designate. So we designate the people based on fitness level that need rest over work. But when we play every second night, we prefer to go on the ice full once as a group. And with the game at 8 o'clock tomorrow, we talked to the players, and we opted to have a practice skate tomorrow, not a pregame skate, but an actual practice. With it being 8 o'clock, it's a long time. And so we talked it over with the leaders last night before they left, and it was decided that we'd go full on Saturday, and then today would be what's called designate. I don't believe in optional practices. Designate practices I believe in, so that's what you'll see. Sometimes you'll see 18 guys out on a designate practice, and it's all based on minutes played and required rest, the balance between the rest and the work being taken place.
You've been going through some pretty basic drills, correct? And today you threw a small area game in there. Is it an effort to get back to basics and start building from there?
For me, the small area, what we try to do at practice right now is run 2 drills and then 1 competition. So it's all 2 to 1. So as soon as we field our second drill, we throw in a competition. And the attitude is no matter what you do, if you get your competitive level to another level, then you can be successful quickly. And I said this to people before. I really believe that this team can get better quicker than even I thought, by the way they respect each other and the way they compete against each other at practice. It's been a long time since I've seen a team that competes like this against each other at practice. We got a lot of things to work on, but there's a lot of things in a very short period of time we've gotten a lot better at, which is a good sign. But the way they go at each other at practice, it gives you a really good feeling that this team's going to continue to improve, and it's going to be on an upward climb for a long time.
And one final one, if you don't mind. Lucic, Brasi, and Kassian. Why did you put that trio together? And are you getting what you expected out of them?
I'm getting more from the line than I thought offensively and pressure. And I knew they were good defensively, but I'm getting way more offensively than I thought. I'd like them to finish more, given that the opportunities that they're getting, but I'm getting way more than I thought offensively. I knew how good Brasi was defensively, and the guy that surprised me the most, quite frankly, is Kassian. I didn't know him as a player that much before, and I'm pleasantly surprised at how accomplished he is in a number of things that are coach-related. I'm really pleasantly surprised at his efficiency on the ice. So it's a good sign.
Ken, I watched one of your coaching lecture seminar videos, and you have a pretty strong ideology on this generation of players, the young skaters. Where did you cultivate that, and maybe how are you applying it to Jesse Poole?
First of all, in Puljujärvi, I said this to Peter today. I don't know. I didn't even know anything about him till he came here, till he actually came and played. I didn't pay attention to him when I coached against him, but somebody's really coached him well. He's a well-coached player at a young age, and what I mean by that is he's got an incredible stick, and he hides it well and then spears it out when he needs to be, use it as a checking mechanism. He creates a lot of turnovers, so somebody's really worked well and he's received the information properly. Whether it was back in Finland or with Todd and his group here, I find him to be a very effective player. And I know he's not scoring at the rate that people thought he would. That's going to come. But, man, he has a lot of things that as a coach you love in a game. And he creates more turnovers and more pressure on people than a lot of players at his age. So it's a good thing. And for me on the generation stuff, quite frankly, I like studying that stuff. I like learning from it. I go to pretty big leadership institutes in Europe and in the United States that there's no NHL people there. I think Mac T's the only one that I think from the NHL that's ever been to one. But I go to those twice a year in the summer, and I enjoy them. It's soccer, it's rugby, it's international swimming, it's cultural musicianship, stuff like that. And you learn from how to work with that generation. And so I studied that stuff big time. Terry?
It's kind of fun to watch players who know of your reputation but have never worked with you before. I mean, they're expecting usually this tough, ogre type guy or whatever it is, and then they discover that that playful side or whatever you want to call it that you have. Have you seen that sort of thing happening already with this group?
Yeah. Well, the reputation is something easy to talk about, but it's not who I am. The reputation that precedes me is not close to really what I am. The players that play for me they're the ones that matter. They know. And my friends and, you guys, you and I have known each other for 50 years. I mean, Maddie and you and I, and we you know what I'm like. And I'm really negotiable in a lot of things. There's certain things I'm not negotiable with. Like, and I said this to people, I'm not negotiable when the other team has the puck. And they learn the balance between what I'm willing to give up and what I'm not. And I think once the players learn that, then they have a good relationship with me. But to me, I'm one of these guys that I try to get you to understand, the harder I push you, the more I believe in you. And when I'm pushing, it's because I trust and I believe in you. And I continue to push because I really see something there. And I think these players are hopefully starting to understand that I care about their success and I want them to be successful. And there's a reason I push is because I see a lot there to push. And I want them to believe in that.
Ken, the team made a waiver claim today on Zykov. Are you at all familiar with the player at all, or do you have any sense of?
No, I'm not. I mean, I got the scouting report and I talked to the people I trust that saw him play a lot. So I have that information, but I don't remember him much as a player. So that information I have to come from Peter and his staff. But I did get, when we picked him up on waivers, I called the two people I know that know him very well and gave me a report on him. So.